What is it that man's done that you
Well, they
disown?
kill each other. I've never killed anybody. I don't plan to, but they seem to enjoy the sport of killing one another. I don't approve of that.
Okay, you've put out an enormous amount of work. You've been extremely busy. Where do you? What does the word energy mean to you? Where do you get your energy from? Because you seem to kind of give out energy in your music, and having just met you in yourself.
Well, I'm talking about the cosmos. I'm talking about universes. I'm talking about omniverses. I'm talking about this planet will have to cooperate with other worlds now instead of just being isolated the way they have been.
Do you think that the human race is very blinkered and does isolate itself from what's going on around it?
Man is not human yet. He has to evolve to be a human.
So we're failing even in being human.
Well, that's something you have to wake up to. You have to evolve to be human.
Do you think that we generally, though, shut our eyes to what's going on around us?
Yeah, the people are not conscious of other worlds. They just think that they're free, and they're under illusion that they're not being watched. But they are being watched very carefully by other worlds who are surrounding them in spaceships and other things, and who have contacted terrestrial beings in Turkey. And I have a book they sent called Book of Information. They explaining everything, and Turkey was the country they chose to contact. And when I went to Turkey, I went to Istanbul, they gave me the book, so I'm the only one in the West who has it.
Right. What does the book have in it?
It's called the Book of Information. It has all the way up to the 30th century. It has what causes cancer, how to cure it. It has how existence started, pre-existence. It tells everything. It's revealing to the so-called man all kind of secrets of the universes and secrets about galaxy empires, about other universes where there are people like us, and some of them don't know about us, some of them do. And the planet will have to be able to be in contact, communication now with other type of beings. And they can't, they said the greatest sin is for people to kill one another. They say they're going to stop it. That, of course, it might make people on this planet uneasy. They have a right to be uneasy because they're used to doing whatever they want to do on this planet, talking about liberty and freedom. But they're part of the greater universe, and that means that you're not free. You have to be precision and discipline. You have to have some kind of authority that's greater than the authorities on Earth who can't handle the situation.
Do you think that other beings from other worlds, from other planets, do they have the same problems that we have, or do they not have murder there? Do they not have death in the same way?
They don't have that.
So they
don't approve of it.
Have they got themselves together, or was it always that way?
Well, they're just finding out about us here. But the conditions they see, they said too much negativity comes from this planet. They have magnetic shields up that all the negative thoughts go up, bounce right back down here. And they said that is what caused the confusion. They're also saying that they're going to visualize themselves. Right now they're transparent and radar can't detect them. But they don't want this planet to attack them because they could destroy this planet in 1/16th of a second with what they have. They don't want them to even try to attack them because they don't believe in wars and things. But they feel that people, the way they are totally unworthy to be part of the government of the universes, and they can't be that. They can't be part of if they continue to be the way they are. So they have to change. This is the end of the century, you might say, and we entered over into another age with computers and all kind of things. Everything has changed but man. He would have to change. Now my music is a bridge to the change. A lot of musicians are just playing. They play very nicely, but they're not saying anything about the future of survival. They don't play that. They're just playing like everything is all right, but everything is totally out of order. I play some music that will astound some people, but then they need to be astounded and they need to be shook up and wake up before it's too late. So therefore, I sought to play what I feel, and I play what I feel. But I've only had trouble out of musicians, not people. People feel what I'm doing. They don't know any music. They just go by their feelings. Musicians go by what they know. And if you go by what you know, then you're in opposition to what is unknown, and what is unknown is greater than what is known. So then they shut their minds to something which they should, they have to wake up, and then they can wake people up. But observing things, judging a tree by the fruit, this planet is asleep, and the fault is basically with musicians who haven't been their true selves.
When you first started making music, when you first started playing, were you aware of what you're aware of now, or did that come through your playing music and your understanding of music?
I always knew I wasn't a part of this planet. I always knew that.
From what
But
age?
I didn't understand it.
Right.
But as the years went by, I began to understand I'm different. And then I had to find out why am I different. And then I found out because my spirit and my mind is not on this planet, it's somewhere else. And I'm playing things from somewhere else. Definitely playing from somewhere else. And if you hear some of the things in my archives, you would know that. But since I never wanted to be a leader, I wanted to be part of this planet, I just concealed a lot of things I can do. Because this planet didn't have any place for somebody like me. It's got places for man and woman, but not a country in the world has any rights for an angel. Not one has any constitution giving an angel the right to walk this planet. So therefore, they're the ones who don't have a place for me. Not me, I got a place for them. And I go out and I play for them so they can understand and get the proper impressions of infinity, of endlessness, of immortality, of things the ancient Egyptians were talking about, and the world went on its way and thought it was just myth. But then that's when sometimes I call my band Myth Science. That's why I use different names. But now I'm calling Omniverse Ultra 21st Century Music. And that's what it is.
Tell us about how you first started playing the piano, first got involved in music.
Well, you know, other forces are in charge. They determined that I should be sort of a messenger to this planet. In another way, they determined I should be a musician. I never wanted to be anything in the art field because I read about how badly this planet has treated artists and musicians. I never wanted to be that. I didn't have to go through that. I was lived a very sheltered life as a child, so I didn't never want to go through any hardships because I didn't see why it's necessary. So I never had a thought that I'd be a musician until my mother, for a so-called birthday present, I came home from school, and there it was, a so-called birthday present, piano. I hadn't taken any piano lessons, but I sat down and played it, and then I found out I could sight read anything. I just had it naturally.
Without learning?
I didn't have to buy any music because a friend of mine played violin, and he bought all kind of songs to prove that I was not reading. But I read all of it. I read classics. I read anything he put before me. I sight read it. And that's how I got to be with Fletcher Henson, because he had a huge repertoire. And he didn't have time to rehearse, really, so he hired me. He just directed, and I could sight read anything. I just had it naturally. Like birds, you know, they don't go to school either. But they can sing some nice songs.
When you played with Fletcher Henderson, the music he was playing, his music, earth music, if you like, what were you playing with him? Were you kind of having to restrict yourself from playing along with the band, or were you doing your own thing?
Oh, no, he had music. I played it, but I played it my way. I only had trouble out of the band. And I had to tell him, Fletcher plays piano, and he likes what I'm doing, so you should shut up because you don't even matter. And I had to put in my notice after this went on for months. I put in my notice, and I left. And I came back to hear the new pianist, and there wasn't one because Fletcher refused to hire anybody else and was just directing. So then they told me to come back on the stage where he belonged. And I went back on the stage because Fletcher, they saw he wasn't going to hire anybody else and wasn't going to play the piano himself. And that's when I still with the band.
Was there anyone else at that time who kind of shared your perspective on things and your vision on the world?
Oh, no. Most of the musicians in America were really slaves to the system because of the dollar. I've never been a slave, so therefore I wasn't interested in that money, because money is here today and gone tomorrow. I am more of a spiritual being, so therefore a spirit being, and therefore I couldn't really bow to the dollar. Although I'm in the dollar country, it didn't matter to me. I'm a free spirit, so then I went my own way with great difficulty, but I was quite happy being me, because I can't be anybody else but me. A lot of people in America, particularly black ones, are being something else for the world to see. But I wasn't interested in what the world thought of me, because it doesn't matter. Everybody on this planet is here today and gone tomorrow. It's a railroad station. You know, you can't get too acquainted with people in a railroad station, because they're here today and gone tomorrow. You might never see them again. Then maybe you will. But railroad stations are not places to get acquainted with people. So therefore, I just kept on doing what I'm doing. And lo and behold, I'm in touch with beings from other universes. But if I had stopped, I wouldn't have this book, which is my job to some kind of way distribute it to the Western nations, because the Space Forces bypassed Europe, England, and everybody else, and gave it to Turkey.
Who did they give it to in Turkey?
The other universes. They said the Council of the Universes, the administrators of the Galaxy Empire. Strange terms. But I said, one of my songs, I'm saying there are other worlds they have not told you of. I've been subtly trying to tell people that's something else, something you don't know about. But since I'm not a minister or a politician, it's quite difficult on a planet that only follow politicians and ministers and philosophers, and you come with another kind of truth, and they don't have a place for me.
My guest on Jazz FM is Angel Sun Ra.
Well, I've been promoted to Archangel lately.
You could go even further after tonight. We'll be talking more and hearing some more of his music next, which comes from the LP Sun Song. Right, 102.2 Jazz FM. Jez Nelson with my guest, Sun Ra. Sun Ra, that was from an LP recorded in 1967 with the orchestra. When did you first form your band, the orchestra?
Well, in Chicago, probably after Fletcher Henderson, I would say Fletcher left Chicago, and that probably was in the 50s. He left the planet in 52, I hear. He went to New York. Well, it was during that time when I had a trio, I called it like a space trio, and then it kept expanding till it got to be a band. We played at the Grand Terrace, where Earl Hines had played, and Fletcher Henderson, Carl Basie. We played there. I had trouble because people were saying I had a bebop band. Then I decided to prove that wasn't true. We were playing everything, so I gave a concert, outer space concert, one Sunday matinee, very successful. That proved that people were ready for something.
A space
different.
concert?
Yes,
What was
what I called it. Outer space concert, matinee.
What year would this have been?
It must have been maybe 54, 55.
Now, you are one of the people, or one of the, however you want, one of the beings which has kind of defined avant-garde music.
Well, I didn't call it that. It's just a matter of acquainting people with their real selves. They have to come to a knowledge themselves now. It's not about anything that's far away. It's about what's inside of them, and that's very near. They just don't know themselves at this point. And, you know, a Greek philosopher said, know thyself. They don't know their potentials and what they are yet. My job is to see that they do know. And then they won't want to hurt each other anymore.
It must have been, still people today struggle to understand your music. They try and write about your music. They argue about your music. In those days, you were really at the forefront of a change in music. You're listening to that from 1957 and 1967, and before that you said you were giving space concerts. You must have all your life been kind of struggling with people, or people must have been kind of trying to put you down all the time because your music is different to other people's.
Only the musicians try to do that, not people. People are my friends. And musicians still are so ignorant, they haven't seen the light yet, unfortunately. So they're in a totally different thing than me.
Mm. So how do they show that ignorance? I mean, what do they say to you?
By they had some kind of meeting at Carnegie Hall in New York, and top musicians were there. They were voting about a grant or something. All of them voted against me except a minister who was there. Another musician who was there told me about it. The top musicians, they put me down. So then they got the grants and the money and everything, and I kept on playing for people. Now when I play, we always have packed houses, standing ovation from people. Musicians still are getting left behind, which is very good for them. I laugh up my sleeves quite often, and then I'm getting ready to put something out from my archives now, and I'll be like the Pied Piper of Hamlin. I look around, I got all the people.
Talking of that, I wish this was TV, because Sun Ra has just shown us the most amazing photographs taken on a recent visit to Istanbul, Turkey. Tell us about the scenes we've just seen there.
Well, what happened is the teenagers of Turkey brought me there. At first when they were talking about it, because they were in New York, children ambassadors and things, and they would be at every concert. I didn't know where they were from until they contacted me and wanted me to come to Istanbul. When I told people I was going to Turkey, they didn't believe it. They said, nobody goes to Turkey. But these teenagers worked. They kept on till it was a reality. So we went there, and then the first day we got there, they said they was have a parade. We was in a bus. So they took us downtown section. We got out the bus, and we got on a truck, flatbed truck, the band, drums and everything. And we went on downtown, into the midst of downtown Istanbul. People on the sidewalk shopping in different stores. And all at once, they practically ran into the street following the truck. We weren't playing. They silently followed us, and then we started playing. And you could, as far as you could see, we went several blocks. It was just like maybe 100,000 people following that truck. They finally turned the corner. They turned the corner too. Later on, one of the band members was talking to someone and said, we don't know too much about Turkey in America except about the terrible trucks. We heard of them. Where are they? And the man said that was them following Sunrise in the truck. They're the terrible trucks. They are the grassroots of Turkey. Now, we always send things to them. Now, if we think it's too high for something, we don't send those people down there. But Sunrise doing something different. We want to know what did they think. Now, they go by intuition. They don't go by what they know. And if they accept something, Turkey accepts it. Now, we didn't tell them Sunrise was playing here. We didn't advertise or nothing. We didn't call his name. But they instinctively followed that truck. That means that Turkey accepts Sunrise.
Does that kind of thing surprise you when it happens?
It was really surprising because I don't go for being a leader on this planet because man is too rebellious. He always found faults with all his leaders. And I don't think I would present even one man to the angels and say, oh, this is my friend, because I wouldn't trust him. So therefore, I'm not considering myself as a leader. I'm considering myself as a harmonizer and coordinator, which is quite different from talking about being a leader.
My guest is Sun Ra. We'll talk more and hear some more of his music soon.
Jez Nelson on Jazz FM.
The light interested me so that I dared to knock at the door of the cosmos. Love and light interested me so that I dared to knock at the door of the cosmos.
Door of the Cosmos from Sun Ra 1979. I'll talk more in just a second. It's Jazz FM with Jez Nelson, just gone 20 after 12. If you were waiting to hear an interview with Paz, well, Sun Ra has been talking to us, and I think it's nice that we go on talking to him. But Paz will be here in a couple of weeks' time, talking to us live on Jazz FM. Sun Ra, the piece of music we just heard, The Door of the Cosmos, came out on your own record label in 1979. There was chanting in there. A lot of your music uses chanting, people chanting, messages.
Yes, it's about subtly impressing people with something which they're going to have to use for their protection. Because if these other beings from other universities come here, they're going to expect you to present your culture, your beauty, your real essential soul that is in contact with other worlds. You can't just present something just about this planet. You have to demonstrate you're part of other worlds too, that you're actually citizens of the greater universe, or even citizens of the cosmos. You just didn't know it. But now, with them coming, you have to just proclaim your citizenship to the emperor of the omniverse, which is the creator. And you send your petitions to the emperor instead of praying.
So this music that you've been creating over the years, as well as being a message to the people of Earth, it's also a message to the beings of other planets?
Yes, to all of them. I mean, I couldn't just play for Earth when you got other beings out there. Why, by the year 2000, musicians might have gigs on Mars or Venus or anywhere, so they just can't go up there playing what they are playing. They got to play something that has something to do with those beings so they can be appreciated.
That's going to be something, isn't it? A gig on Mars.
Of course.
How are you going to get your equipment there? I mean...
Well, we can rent some instruments there.
They've probably got some different kinds of instruments.
Of course, and then you have to play them. That is where it comes to, you have to be a true artist musician, and it won't make any difference what kind of instruments they got. You will still be able to play them because you're intuitively a true art universal musician. And it doesn't make any difference what kind of instrument it is. You will play it because your spirit will play it.
Can you even imagine, I mean, maybe you can imagine the kind of instruments, the kind of music that might come from other planets? Because we're very kind of narrow-minded. I suppose we can only think in terms of the sounds that we know. But is there any way of thinking about the music of other planets?
You can't think about it. In order to survive, you must show that you are part of them, that they're your brothers and sisters, and you show that you are, then you will accept it. But if you're just going to be earth-minded, they're not going to accept anything like that. Not even the devil would accept man the way he is. So really teaching that they go into hell is ridiculous, because the devil wouldn't even let them in the door. Not what they are, because they're doing things the devil wouldn't even dare to do, since they always talking about him. You don't have any proof that the devil ever killed another devil, but you got proof that man has killed man, and therefore they should be quiet.
Your band, the people you've had in your orchestra for many years, that some of them have stayed, Marshall Allen, John Gilmore have been in the band for many, many years, Julian Priester. These people, you say that you don't have much trust of other human beings, you say that you're not from this planet. How do you go about selecting these lifelong members of your band? I mean,
well, that's because they need me, and because they've had strange experiences that they could not explain. It's the experiences that demonstrated some other force that they don't understand, but they know it's real because they've seen things happen that's unexplainable.
So they've come to you, you haven't gone to them?
Well, they'd be around me because every time I rehearse, I show them they don't know music, because I write something that they have great difficulty playing. After all these years, every now and then I write something and say, now play this, and then they have difficulty. And finally, they finally get it, but they have to pause, because music is a language, and I'm saying other things in these compositions. They're not familiar with these other things, so then they have to do like learn another language. They have to be able to decipher every note, because the notes might have to be played in a diamond shape or a round shape or 8-point star shape, the notes have to be played a different way. If I write a note that's supposed to be played square, you play it square. Maybe it's supposed to be round, maybe it's supposed to be a spiral. Well, I got different systems, you see. So if they play the note square when it's supposed to be spiral, it's not going to sound right, and they won't be able to reach people. But if they play that note the way it's supposed to be, then people will hear it. People don't know in the music, most of them, but they know if you hit a wrong note, and they know if you play a wrong rhythm, and they know if you play the wrong harmony. They know it instinctively. They never heard the composition. They don't need to hear it. They know if somebody play a wrong rhythm, they know it.
Your whole organization, the people you work with, is based in Philadelphia.
Well, that's nice you said based in Philadelphia, because you have asked me that I live in Philadelphia. I will tell you I reside there.
Where do you live?
Well, actually, I'm not on this planet. This is my shadow talking. I'm in a very safe place in the archives of the Creator, and I'm just my shadow. Substitute of me is here talking. Well, this planet is too dangerous for a person to really be here. So he sends the abstracts and the image and everything for the person, and they talk, and then he see what is going to happen. And that's why I say what I do, because I know the real me is somewhere in the other universe, and this is just my image talking. Because, you know, everybody here's an image, because they come in through the reproduction system, so they're not really real. They're not the originals, so if they come in through the reproduction system, they most certainly are not the original, because things that reproduce is not the original. So if they come in, they reproduce, where's the real person at?
But
somewhere else.
Doesn't that mean that we're all the same person then? If we must all come from the original source. So.
Your original is somewhere else too. You just have to come to knowledge of getting in tune with your original, where you can teleport yourself to your original away from here. You can do it. If you bring yourself up to the frequency of your original, you can be like your original. You actually, in a sense, creating yourself, because you become part of your soulmate, which is you, where you somewhere else, and that's your soulmate. Not better sex, nothing like that. It's just your soulmate, because then you become your own creator, in a sense. You have to come out of nothing in order to be something, which is what you have to do. You have to be a creator of your own self. You have to be born of yourself. That's why they be speaking about the Son of Man, not woman, not involved. You, like you came out of the womb, you have to come out of yourself now and be you, the real you. The real you is down inside. You have to bring it up from the subconscious. Subconscious know a lot of things. When you bring your subconscious up to your conscious, then you become conscious. You have to become what they call cosmic consciousness. I always like to say cosmo consciousness, which is on a high advanced state. And that's why I'm playing that. The nations of the world will have to realize I'm playing for them. I'm not really just basically talking about American or nothing like that. I rose up above being an American a long time ago, really. I'm an English American, French American, Russian American. I'm everything anybody else is, because I got the frequency of that spirit, and that makes me part of them. And therefore, when I play for them, they know it. They know it, because I'm them. That makes a different story. If I was just an American, I can only do what other American musicians have done. But quite often I play something which, like I got a song now, but they're supposed to come out. It's definitely India, pure Indian music. You couldn't tell it's me or the band. It sounds like the spirit of India, better than they play it, because it's pure, you see. It's pure. And when the world hear pure music, then that will elevate that spirit so they can be pure. They got to have something to hold on to now. What they need is something pure. Just one point of purity in the form of man, not necessarily man, but just all they have to see, that one person come up and do something infinity, and then all of them will be compelled to rise up to that standard of infinity. And once they rise up to the standard of infinity, they're knocking on the door of the impossible thing called immortality. And they don't have to be righteous.
Let's hear some more of Sun Ra's music. Sun Ra, jazz and romantic sounds. It's Jez Nelson on Jazz FM. There's certainly no ordinary radio station and certainly no ordinary morning because my very special guest is Sun Ra. Now, you're someone who, despite the doubtless fact that there's so much innovation in the music that you create, there's also strong links with the tradition of jazz in your music.
Oh yeah, the pure thing about it. See, I started really traveling around when I was 12 years old with companions in school who also were interested in music. And this way, I got to really know people because we weren't playing for money. We were playing because we wanted to be together So starting out that way is totally different from starting out to make money. It wasn't about that. We like to be with each other, and we like to play for people. So we played mostly on percentage and other things. We weren't worried about whether anybody was there or not. Therefore, I had the experience of traveling at an early age and playing for people, just people.
You've one of the people who's used, one of the first people to use some of the electronic instruments that came on the scene, the synthesizers.
I felt the need for something else because being a composer, I realized that I wouldn't get a lot of musicians to want to be part of this because they're thinking about the dollar all the time. So when electronic instruments came in, I had to answer. I could use that and play the parts myself. Some composers in America, that's all they use, synthesizers, but I still retain live musicians because we need that too. I didn't desert them. And because that, they didn't desert me, which greatly puzzled other musicians, how I can keep a band together. And they can't keep bands together, people getting paid. They can't keep it together. They can't keep religious organizations together. They can't keep revolutionary organizations together, and they got money too. So then they're not with me about the money. They're with me because they have to be. Like I told someone in the newspaper, I said, well, they're in the raw jail. My jail is the best jail in the world, and they have to be with me because they're in the raw jail.
And people don't want to leave the raw jail.
They can't get out because they can't find any other jailer like me.
Well, I can't argue with that. You're a man who has, if I might say so, beautiful dress sense. You have some of the most amazing clothes I've ever seen have been on you, on pictures of you.
Well, I have to pick the right. You see, people who make clothes are also artists, and then a beautiful cloth, you just sit and look at it in astonishment at the beauty of it, because that's a work of art. So then I pick out the right kind of cloth to destroy out the vibration of the cosmos. And I like this because you can see it's starry-like, although they're not stars.
Your
You know it's about the cosmos. And then other things I have, this. It throws out vibrations of the cosmos.
That's a sort of, what's that made of? It's a necklace, which is made of...
I don't know, the design of it is very nice, and the
gold.
color is fascinating.
And your hat, which is a kind of...
Yeah, I got, even in Russia, they were startled at this hat and asked me where did I get it from.
It's like a sort of Russian
I would
hat,
because
isn't it?
I thought it's going to be cold there. Well, they asked me where did I get it from. I got it from Finland.
Right.
So it's a wolf hat.
Wolf hat.
Yes, but it's very different.
What about your beard? Because that's a recent kind of addition, the orange beard, isn't it?
Well, that's memento of Egypt, because this is Egyptian henna. The first time I had it golden, like that henna is different, you see. This is different. Like they got some henna from other places, but the Egyptian henna is really the best. But they don't send it out to other countries. You have to go there to get it.
Now, so many of the so-called avant-garde musicians take their work and their music extremely seriously. But whilst your music has a great value, there seems to me to be a great amount of humour in what you do, and a lot of kind of theatre in what you do. Your shows are a performance, aren't they? And you are yourself, in a way, a performer.
Of course, I get almost standing ovation when I come out one of my costumes, because the costume is music. And when I was in Turkey, I bought some costumes that the Turks had made, which is very, very beautiful and very creative. If the musicians are dressed creative, people can appreciate that instead of wearing overalls and jeans. And the musicians, you see, are performers, and performers have to look nice. And the average person, you see, they have a hard time working. They wear their work clothes. But musicians don't need to be a competition to the working man. They need to wear something else so that the working man would say, that's beautiful.
Now, the Ra jail, as well as being a kind of spiritual thing, is there a kind of physical side as well? Because don't you all live or dwell in the same place in Philadelphia?
Well, everybody's in the raw jail. I couldn't come in this country, and with my passport, I have to have my passport. So if you got to have your passport thing to come in and out, it most certainly is a jail. England is a jail, America's a jail, and every country in the world is a jail because you got to have your pass to get out. So therefore, you're under guard, and you can't just walk out, and you can't just come in. If that's not a jail, I don't know what it is. So I'm saying everybody's in some kind of jail.
But do you all hang out in the same place in Philadelphia? Isn't that right? That you've actually got a kind of a centre
Well,
and
I
a shop
kind
and
of
everything?
stay close in Philadelphia because the Philadelphians, you see, are very upset because I said Philadelphia is the headquarters of death itself, and I don't think they appreciate that too much, but it is, you know.
Did you at one time have a shop? I heard that you had a shop where you used to sell space sweets.
Pharaoh's Den, but the person who was in charge of it fell by the wayside. They were too earth-minded, and you can't pretend with me. You either are or you aren't, and if you're earth-minded, you cannot stay in this band because I keep on moving forward, and you have to move forward or else. I mean, okay, I like them. They cannot stay in this band if they refuse to better their condition from the state when I met them. No, they needed them being with me. I'm a teacher in a sense. So if they don't keep up, they get subtly deserted. And they go right back out there with the earth people. They don't need to be with me. I'm not earth man. So why should they be in this band? I mean, there's plenty of places for earth bands. Like I told the guitar player, he's very young, I said, get out there with the earth people. You don't need to be with me. And he really could play rock and everything. So he got out there with the earth people. And one day he came back and kissed me and said, you know, you've been better for me than my own father. You taught me something. You told me that in order to be with the earth people, I have to dress like them, I have to act like them, and didn't care how well I played. If I didn't seem to be a part of them, they would not accept me. He said, I went out there and look at my hair. I don't like that. I don't like these clothes I got, but I had to do it in order to play with them. But that is not me. And he realized I told him the truth. He's a wonderful guitarist. Now, you see, since he's come to himself to see he has to be creative and be an artist and not try to dress like other musicians on the earth plane, not try to be like them because he's not like them. He has a remarkable sense of humor. He's always happy. And like he said, some musicians are very serious-minded. They act like they're at a funeral when they play, and they dress like it too. They're very serious-minded. You go down, you sit and look at them, and they be wearing this black and everything, and they're so serious-minded until it's funereal. But actually, if they had a happy soul, if they wasn't worried about anything, that would mean they really are free. They have a free spirit, and then they can create because they feel something else. But if they just think about the dollar, well, everybody else is too. So why should they go and see something like that? And then they go and see music up there to think about the dollar. Then they get worried about their bills and everything, and it causes stress with the audience. But if they come and see some music who's not thinking about the dollar, who playing for them because they care about them and they want them to be happy, it's a different scene.
Do human beings have a problem relaxing?
Well, not too many men are human beings. A human being...
All right, men.
You got that hue on there. See, when you put the hue on there, a human is entirely different from a man. A man is not a being. A human being is totally different from just man.
Okay, the men and women have problems relaxing. I know I do, but does everyone else have problems?
They have problems in their marriages. They be together and all they want, they love each other, and next thing you know, here they go and they have a divorce. You got a lot of problems between sexes now.
What about love in your life?
Love? Well, love can easily turn to hate. I mostly talk about people about hate. They must learn to hate themselves. Particularly, they say they're Christians, and if they follow in Christ, he most certainly said you must hate your life. Of course, they don't read what he said. He said you must hate your life. And he's talking about you must love your life. So then if you hate your life, then how you going to love somebody else in that present condition? You have to hate them so bad that they change. If you hate yourself so bad, you say, I don't want to be this, so you begin to change. But if you love what you are, you're not going to change. You're quite complacent, you see. But then when you begin to find fault with yourself, say, I am not, this is not what I want to be. Then you begin to change yourself, and you create yourself in the image of what you feel you are. That's what I'm talking about.
The music of Sun Ra from an LP called Blue Delight, which came out last year. There's a track called Sunrise. We're going to talk a little more to Sun Ra in just a few seconds, and then Sun Ra has very kindly agreed to play for us live on Jazz FM. It's 1 o'clock on Jazz FM with Jez Nelson and my guest Sun Ra, who very soon is going to play live for us. Before that, Sun Ra, your last LP, Blue Delight, it was on a major record label for a start, A&M, and it seems as though you were coming a little bit more towards the mainstream again. You were covering some standards there, and the whole album, although distinctively you, is a little bit more mainstream, yeah?
Well, it seems to be, but down under there, the foundation is still extreme avant-garde, if you listen carefully.
Sure.
The melody is there. But I just want to demonstrate creativity from the arranging point of view. And by me arranging it, of course, it's mine, it's the composer's too, but it's mine because it's totally different in sound. I'm dealing with sound, you see, not just what you call music. A musician can play very well indeed, but sound is a major factor. And people be listening to the sound of music rather than just the musician executing. They don't listen to that. They listen to the sound. And when they play the sound, people know that's the sound. You know, like you have a sound body, a sound doctrine, you need to have a sound music. So I'm dealing with sound. I have to have that sound because that's what Fletcher Henderson had. And that's when his music, his band was so remarkable, he had the sound.
You say you've just finished another album with Don Cherry.
Well, actually, we did, Don Cherry played with my band. I think this has about 20 pieces, and he's one of the trumpet players. Of course, he's featured. But you'd have to hear the album to see a totally different story. I'm using synthesizer, and I'm really writing arrangements. There's polytonality, tone, and they also polyrhythmic, polyharmonic. It's a whole different story. I threw the whole thing at them, let them know this is it.
Just tell us briefly what it's going to be like at your concerts on Sunday, when you're playing at the Brixton Academy, I believe.
I always tell them make my music according to the spirit of people. And when they come in there, one person come in, I change the music. If one leaves, I change the music. I change according to vibrations that I feel. So one person come in, I change. I have to change, you know, because it's not the same. And I'm very sensitive. I can feel that. And one come in, change the music. One leave, change the music, you see. It all comes down to change because I'm sensitive, you see. And I have to change because it's a place called voids and replacement. I'm always traveling, and I always travel through the wilderness of people's spirits, and they need me. And then one day they'll say, they do, and that's what I'm waiting on. They will say, I do.
Sun Ra, it's been a real pleasure talking to you this morning. And you're playing on Sunday at the Brixton Academy, and then on Monday at the Mean Fiddler in Harlesden. I shall certainly be there. And
Both concerts will be different.
I'm sure. You're going to go next door for us very shortly and play live. What will you be playing?
I'll probably play something on the spirit plane, wake up a few people, hit one chord. Maybe I just hit one chord. It just depends. I can hit one chord and play a whole song with the vibration of that one chord. I'm dealing with, I have to see, have to meet the piano and see what's its capabilities, what is its potential. Because I don't just get something down verbatim and say, I'm going to play this on the piano. I never met this piano. So when I meet the piano, then I would say, oh yes, this is a nice piano, and I can say hello, and then I play something. We're friends, you see. Some pianos are made just for classical piano players where they can just pound and shake their hair and all that. That kind of piano is not very good for jazz. But this piano, it looks nice.
It's a shimmel.
Well, I meet Mr. Schimmel in a few minutes.
Thank you very much. We look forward to hearing your last message from your music as Sun Ra moves next door. We'll play one final track from an LP which has just been, well, put out. It's a compilation of some of Sun Ra's work from the 1960s. It's called Out There a Minute, and this is called Next Stop Mars. Sun Ra, Next Stop Mars. You're witness to an unusual event. First of all, an interview with the man Sun Ra, and very soon he'll be playing live on Jazz FM. Wow, Sun Ra live on Jazz FM playing the piano. Thank you very much, Sun Ra.
Thank you.